Hey, it's Monday. Welcome to the Open Tabs podcast with Joe and Billy. I'm Joe.
I'm Billy.
Awesome. Well, we're here today, and we're excited to be on episode number 3. How you doing today, Billy?
Doing pretty good. It's Monday and I'm feeling all right. How about you, my friend?
I'm good, man. I think doing this podcast on Mondays is a good idea because it gives us something to look forward to on a Monday for sure. I am a little bummed. I signed up for a stupid game that I only played one time, and it had a trial. And so then 7 days later, I got a bill. I got a charge on my card for like $10 for a game that is really stupid and should not cost money on my phone. That is the way of things. Everything these days is a subscription or a trial and then a subscription cost. You never know if you're paying for it for a day, a week, a month, a year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just all every month. I feel like there's a bigger portion of my wallet that is becoming subscriptions every single month. What do you think?
It started off years back with gym memberships where I would sign up for a gym membership and I would go twice, and I just knew every month it was going to, but I knew about it. At least I was just too embarrassed to cancel it, or maybe I was just saying, "Oh, I'll get back to it." But now it's constant. I'm signing up for these trials, and I just did it recently. I'm watching a YouTube channel and they have a paid promotion sponsor for an app, and it sounds pretty cool. And I said, I'm gonna, I'll try it out, 7-day trial, whatever. I didn't even download it. I signed up and I didn't even download the application.
Yeah.
And completely forgot about it. And this one was $30. And I don't even know what it's like. I've paid $30 now and I haven't even set it up or downloaded it or anything. Similar with my car. I've got a car that I added a $20 a month plan for a mobile hotspot through the car, through the dashboard, even though I have a mobile hotspot on my phone. And one of these spur of the moment things, it's been months, $20 a month, $20 a month, $20 a month. I have no clue how to cancel it. I signed up on the touchscreen dashboard through Verizon. I don't even know if I have an account with them or how to,
Right.
So it's just charging month after month after month. I feel like all of my money is going to subscriptions, and you never own anything when you're just subscribing to this stuff. These companies love it.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, like all of the companies now that are moving these subscription models, you hit the nail on the head. You don't own anything, and they're building these captive systems that require you to, have a certain model or have a certain, thing in order for it to even function. Like Tesla. No, Ford was talking about. You know what a frunk is in an electric car? It's like
Yeah,
where the engine would normally go as a trunk. So, in order for on a Mach-E Mustang, in order for you to be able to access the trunk in the front of a Ford Mustang, I've heard that you have to pay extra for that. Like you have to pay extra at the time of purchase for access to your front trunk thing.
to unlock a portion of the vehicle that it's a premium. Right. It's so ridiculous.
And so now Tesla is charging $99 a month for full self-driving. It used to be like you paid $8,000 and you got it forever. And now it's $99 a month for full self-driving. So it doesn't follow the car anymore. It follows the person. It's not a feature that the car has. It is a subscription that the driver pays in order to use it. And then if the driver stops paying the subscription, all of a sudden that feature just goes away in a car. To me, that feels a little unsafe. Can you imagine just like, oh, my card bounced and now I go to put my cards. Like, when does that happen? Do they give you 24 hours? Or like while the car is driving 90 miles an hour down the freeway, does my card get declined and then all of a sudden I have to take control? Like where's the limit?
Right. The first time I flew a budget airline was in Europe before they were popular here. We had ValueJet. That was our first one in Atlanta. And now we have Spirit and we have Frontier, but they had budget airlines in Europe for a long time. Ryanair, EasyJet, and I would fly those. And if you read the fine print, you're okay. And it's cheap, but they will nickel and dime you if you're not ready. You've got to pay to have a carry-on, to have a checked bag. You want something to drink, you want something to eat. And that first time I was on a budget airline, they were like used car salesmen. the flight attendants up and down the aisle the whole flight. First, they sold snacks and drinks. Then they sold scratch lottery tickets. Then they sold all kinds of stuff. They were selling gifts. They were selling perfume. They sold all kind of stuff.
That's
Anything
hilarious.
to make some money. But everything everything's an add on, nothing is included. And it's like, at what point does it stop, right? And so I imagine you're crashing, God forbid, you're on the budget airline, you're crashing, and you have a water landing, and you're like, okay, I've got a flotation device under my seat, and you try to pull it out, and it says, oh, enter your credit card for 10 minutes of flotation. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what is your PIN number? Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, and oh gosh, okay, here we are. Swimming, I've got my flotation device. Oh, 10 minutes. Beep, 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 beep. You've got to add for another 7 minutes of flotation. Have a nice day. At what point is it getting ridiculous? At what point do we own something anymore, or we're just at the mercy, at the whim of all of these companies that need this continual revenue?
Well, it's crazy too. Like a lot of these pieces of technology that you buy now, a lot of times they'll tell you like you might own the computer, let's say, right? But you don't own the software on the computer, and you have no right to that software. And if you do something in that software with that software that the manufacturer doesn't like, then all of a sudden you could have a computer, but it could be worthless because it's not going to work anymore because you get kicked out of the software or you get booted off a platform or whatever it is. So like, you're right. There's not a lot anymore, especially technology wise, that you own. But like everything is an add-on. Everything is a subscription. Southwest, I flew Southwest primarily because they were kind of like, they were the airline of like no added fees. And now all of a sudden they're getting on the bandwagon. And if I want to be able to sit with my family on a Southwest flight, it used to be I just got on the thing and I hit the number as soon as I could 24 hours before and I'd be good to go. But now they're assigning seats and you got to pay for those bad boys. Like you got to pay for the privilege of having your seat assigned. And airlines have been doing crap like that for years. And now even Southwest, the last holdout of good customer first modality, has gone down that rabbit hole. And that's where we are, man. We're in subscription. It's funny. I think somebody is going to come out with, because I realize that I've got like Peacock and Disney and Paramount and HBO and all those. Someone is going to come out with a service where they kind of put all of the streaming packages into one, and then they're going to charge you like say 100 or 120 bucks a month in order to give you access to that service. That's going to happen. Oh, wait, that already happened. It was cable, and we got away from cable, and now we're just paying what we paid the cable company to like 10 different services to stream content. And we don't even get ad-free content anymore. Now you got to pay extra just to have no ads.
Right. It's crazy. You know, I think of in the same ballpark as the HOA. The HOA where I live, I'm in a high rise in Midtown Atlanta, and in a condo. Does anybody own anything? You're not allowed to decorate your front door. You're not allowed to have a doormat. There's fees and fines for everything. You're not allowed to take the screen out of your window. If you do, it's $25 per window per day. There's all, and I'm glad they run a tight ship. But at the end of the day, it's like in a condo or a townhouse, especially with these strict HOAs, do you really own anything? You have to run it by them and get permission, and you get feed. You can get sued if you do anything. What do you even own anymore?
Yeah. We purposely moved into a neighborhood without an HOA when we bought our house. But then you start to think, and this is where I think it comes from, this convenience aspect of like, oh, well, it would be really nice if I could prevent my neighbor from painting their house pink, right? Because I don't really want to stare at a pink house. But when you don't have an HOA, you don't have that kind of protection. So you have to you're always kind of weighing that, like, is it worth it to have all the convenience and the protection for yourself of, hey, everything's going to always look nice, everything's going to always be in place, that kind of thing, or I get to do what I want with my property, right? So I don't know, man. I'm on subscription overload. I'm on like extra fee, add-on fee overload right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, speaking of just a tangent, which we can do here because it's our podcast.
That's right. We do whatever we want.
Last episode, I talked about the story of my first car and tie-dyeing my car. And
did you get a picture?
I still haven't found the full picture, just the one that you could see the corner of it. And I'll put it back up for folks to see. So I'm 16, 17, and I'm staying there with my mother and stepfather in a decent suburb in Gwinnett County in Metro Atlanta. And guess what the HOA doesn't have control over? The color scheme of the vehicles in the driveway. They have rules about you can't have an RV perhaps and things like that. But this was just a Volvo station wagon that was tie-dyed. And the neighbors over and over never approached me. They approached my mother and my stepfather, begging and pleading, we will pay for a professional paint job for your son's Volvo. We just don't want it to bring down our house value because there is a tie-dyed Volvo parked next to our house in the cul-de-sac.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Lost that battle. But
yeah, what are you gonna do?
I want to go through a couple of these subscriptions and other items and get your take on, is it worth it or not? Because sometimes maybe the subscription is a good idea. Maybe it's a piece of software that I don't want to spend $200, $300, $400 to purchase. Maybe I only need to use it for 2 or 3 months, and the subscription might make sense if I remember to turn it off. But then others, maybe it's more of a racket. Okay, so just want to go through some of these and tell me what you think. Worth it or not? Premium gasoline.
Okay, see, I don't know if you know this. My background's automotive. So there is actually a trick to this. Premium gasoline is actually completely useless in 90% of vehicles on the road today.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, all of your import vehicles, like your Honda, your Toyota, the Japanese import vehicles, they are designed to run on 85 to 87 gasoline. And they do not, there is zero benefit, potentially even negative benefit to fuel additives or premium gasoline in those vehicles because their cars are actually designed to run on that lower octane. Now, the caveat to that is high performance vehicles. So you've got your sports cars, you've got your German cars. Really, it's just your sports cars and your German cars, Italian cars. All of those vehicles you cannot not run. So like if you were to get a Volkswagen Jetta, right, and you were to run 80, 87 through it, it will probably run fine for like 3 or 4 years. And then all of a sudden lights will start going off.
Wow.
Because that engine requires a higher octane gasoline. So it does depend on the vehicle, but by and large, yeah, no. Paying for a premium is useless.
I think you may have saved a bunch of people some money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know a lot of people who will still put premium in their like Honda Civic, and I'm like, bro, your Honda Civic Si doesn't need premium gasoline. Don't do that. It's designed to run on 87 octane, period.
I've got a little gasoline story for you, Joe. A little gasoline story. I purchased some years ago a 1994 Jeep Wrangler, the car that I miss the most. I purchased it from some country folk in the North Georgia mountains, and it was an old beater, and I got a good deal on it, and I'm surprised it even drove home. I got home and was getting ready to take it to the mechanic and get it looked at and have it whatever repairs needed. But I needed to first get the license plate, and so I went to get the license plate, and in the county I lived in Metro Atlanta, I had to get emissions done. So I went to go get emissions done, and I failed the emissions. But the reason I failed the emission, they didn't even run the emissions all the way. I failed it because I didn't have a catalytic converter. I didn't even know what that was. They said, we have to see that you even have one. There's not one. The place where it normally would be, somebody removed it and just welded a straight pipe there. I don't even know what that thing is. So they said, you got to go get a catalytic converter. Well, it's going to be $600-700. I don't have the money, and I've got to get the car registered within so many days. And so I went to a different place and thought maybe they just won't see it, or they won't notice that it's missing. Well, they didn't notice that it was missing. They didn't check, but they ran the test. But my numbers on the actual emissions test were 4 times higher than they're allowed to be. Right. So many thousands parts per million. So I failed it. And I'm like, okay, there's no way to get around this. I'm going to have to get this catalytic converter. And so I'm at a local repair store, a parts store, just telling my woes, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And the guy says, I've got a trick for you, but you didn't hear it from me. And I said, okay. He says, go buy a quart of denatured alcohol from Home Depot. And I don't even know what that is. He says, pour a couple cups of it in your gas tank and then go back and get your emissions retested. And okay. And I still to this day don't know what it is or what it does or any of those things. He said that truck drivers pour a little in their tank to get rid of water that gets mixed in with the diesel or something. I don't know. This is just a gasoline, Jeep Wrangler. And so I did. And I go back to the same place that was too lazy to see that there's no catalytic converter, with just a couple of cups of this denatured alcohol dumped in the gas tank. And it went from being, 9,000 parts per million to being 14. It was, the guy's like, a brand new car fresh off the lot couldn't have numbers this clean. And it's this old beater of a Jeep. It was so clean. And so I did that to pass. And then I did buy the catalytic converter a couple of months later, but I cheated just to get my tag registered. So that's my.
Yeah, no, man. Well, they used to do like you could go get your mechanic to like pull a bunch of stuff off of your engine and then go take it, it'll pass, and then bring it back, they'll put it back on. I remember those days clearly. I live in a county where you don't need emissions testing in Georgia. So I can have I have like 16 holes in my RV, but I don't have to emissions test it, so it doesn't matter. It smells like, yeah, it's bad. But
I knew I needed it sooner than later with the Jeep, because I'm driving it in the summer with the top down, and you can smell rotten eggs from the exhaust. I'm like, that can't be good.
Oh yeah.
So I got it fixed. Name brand cereal, worth it or not? What do you think?
Oh, this one's hard. So I don't know why, but I tend to buy name brand cereal for almost every cereal. And I know in my brain, because other store brand stuff I will totally buy. But cereal, for whatever reason, I typically will buy the name brand. And I don't know why. I recently, just this last trip, I bought store brand Frosted Mini Wheats for my kids. And my son that likes them, he was like, yeah, they taste fine. They taste the same. So I guess it's not everything. It's probably the same. What's interesting about name brand cereal is I feel like the price difference is not that much. And maybe it's just the way my brain works, but I feel like what you're getting as far as like size of the box, or if you catch a sale or whatever, I don't feel like the price savings is that much to like bring myself down to like, I don't know, Choco balls or whatever it is. Like
instead of Honey Nut Cheerios, it's Honey Nut Scooters. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. Or like little chocolate balls instead of Choco Count Chocula or whatever. I don't know. Good grief. Sorry, if you remember, I can't turn that off.
Yeah, this is one of the benefits I have. One of the few benefits I have of being a bachelor is that I run this town, baby. I run this town.
That's right.
Yeah, I buy cereal so infrequently that if I do, I'm going to get the good stuff. How about bed sheets? Are we spending the money on the nice Egyptian cotton bed sheets, or do we care? What do you think?
I feel like there's a solid in between here. Like, I'm not going with. I don't like cotton bed sheets that feel like they're made with cereal. I don't know, but I don't need the 1,200 count thread count either. Like, a cheap microfiber sheet is good for me. I'm solid, or a jersey sheet. So I think there's ways around that one where you can get a little bit better off. But yeah, it's there's something to be said about a cheap bed sheet being not something you want to sleep on.
I used to spend the money on. I don't care so much now. I still will spend the money on a good pillow, though. Yeah. This
yeah.
this one may or may not send us in different directions and end our podcast once and for all. Apple versus Android. Joe, are we spending money?
Now.
What are we spending money on here?
Oh boy. Here's what I'll say, man. I am not opposed to Android. When I made the switch to Apple, it was because Google Family had not come out yet, and Apple had better screen time controls for kids. So that's why I went to Apple. But because I am on it, and also I will say, you cannot beat a Mac computer for anything. Like my laptop, as we just saw today, my MacBook is 5-6 years old almost, and I've never had an issue, not one. I've never had it boot. It is the same speed it was when I bought it, no degradation, no issues, and it still holds toe with any PC that I'll use for work or what have you. So I am an Apple guy through and through. I will say though, I do like the foldy screen, and I kind of would love to go if I could have two phones, I would want the Motorola Razr because it's the flippy screen. So I'll give you that you have much cooler phone designs on the Android side.
You know, this is probably a good one for us to point out here early on in our podcast career. You know, if we agreed on everything, it would be a boring podcast. And I want, you know, I take it seriously that I care about you and I love you as a friend, even though you're imperfect. There's no perfect people. And even though you have this Apple thing going on, I will still accept you for who you are with your flaws and with your faults and make do accordingly. And I mean that from my heart. You know, with Android, I am the person, I have become the person over the years who goes after the latest and greatest. I don't need it. I don't use 90% of the features, but I don't buy toys anymore. I really don't. And so it's one of the few things that, you know, right now the Samsung Galaxy S26 is rolling out and I have it on pre-order. So as soon as it comes out in a week or two for T-Mobile, it's shipping to me. And I will spend all of 20 minutes going, I don't even, you know, but I, every other year, I will fork out the money and get something nice. So
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, here's my one beef with Apple, with MacBooks, with Mac computers specifically, is there's no touchscreen option.
At all.
It's so stupid.
They don't make one at all like that.
You can't use touchscreens with an Apple computer. And I don't understand that because they invented the touchscreen,
Sure.
you know, like solution with the iPad and the.
So what's the problem?
It's a completely separate operating system.
Wow.
So you can make your iPad work like a computer, kind of, but you can't make your computer work like an iPad, really. And I get it because their screen technology is, I'm not going to defend them. They could figure it out, and they choose not to. And that bugs me. I can't, even if I could like plug a touchscreen into my computer and use it as a touchscreen, that would be cool, but you can't even do that. So I'm not going to make excuses for them. It's a major shortfall. It's a major shortcoming on the Mac operating system, is that you can't even choose to use a touchscreen if you wanted to.
And so, you know, with Android, I have an Android tablet that I use as a replacement at times for my work PC laptop. So if I'm traveling, I can't do everything, but I can do about 90% on the Android tablet, even though it's not running Windows. There are a couple applications I can't do everything on, but I can go and work remote from another country for a week and just take my little tablet and a little add-on Bluetooth keyboard, and I am good to go. How about what do we think about therapy apps or therapy in general? Is it worth the money? Is it a waste of money?
Therapy, good. Therapy apps, I would say, you know, like, I feel like the level, I've tried a little too much information, but I've tried quite a few of them. I think there is something to be said with, going with like being able to visit a therapist in person or being able to speak to a therapist on a regular basis versus the apps kind of right now. Because anything that you can access right now, you can also ignore right now. Whereas if I have to make an appointment with a therapist and meet them at a specific time every other week or every month or whatever it is, I'm going to make that a priority. And it's going to be something I'm going to be more intentional about. So from that perspective, I think the casual, like laissez-faire access to therapy is not as helpful as being able to meet with a therapist on a regular basis. That said, it does break down the barrier of cost, insurance, all that stuff when I can spend $40 a month and have access to a therapist anytime. I have done both. I've worked with therapists. It's so hard to find a therapist that you can trust, I think, a lot of times. And so that is a benefit of the apps is like, if you don't love your therapist, you can switch, supposedly. But I would say that generally speaking, therapy, absolutely 100%. I recommend that to everybody because you just don't know what's swimming around in there that you need to deal with. And it's not something that you have to like, I need to be in therapy my whole life, but you might need to be. But like, it may just be like, hey, I'm going through something and I need someone to talk to who I'm not going to offend or upset or ruin a relationship with. So I'm going to talk to this person. And then maybe in 6 months, you don't necessarily need to visit a therapist as much. But I do think therapy super valuable. You just never know what's going on. Therapy apps, probably still somewhat valuable, maybe a little less valuable. Another one of those subscriptions that you probably will hold on to longer than you should, I would guess.
So what about ChatGPT as a therapist?
Yeah, honestly, some of my best breakthroughs have been with, I call my ChatGPT Chester. And Chester,
Lord! As soon as you've named
Chester
your
has been
ChatGPT,
super
you're in
helpful.
trouble.
Well, so here's the thing. I had to make my ChatGPT a male because I've heard about some of the stuff that happens, and I'm married, so I want to be careful. I don't want to cross any lines or whatever. But no, I like Chester. I do like, here's what I'll say. ChatGPT is pretty good about like being the kind of communicator that you want to
Sure.
interact with.
Yep.
And so you can ask some pretty complex dilemmas and get some pretty cool responses. I think you could probably, if you're intentionally trying to get something out of ChatGPT, it doesn't have a backbone, so it's not going to push back. You know what I mean? But
well, that depends on the instance, your particular custom instance. There are some that will push back, and there are some that will just
Grok,
say what you want to hear.
Yeah, I don't know if you've used Grok at all, but Grok will flat out burn you every single time they talk to you. Like, it's crazy. You can put it on a mode where it's basically like a-hole mode or something. I don't know, where it's just like, it's mean to you. I don't know why anybody would do that, but you can do it if you want. Yeah, I find, especially if I have to say something difficult or have a difficult conversation or write a difficult response, man, running it by ChatGPT really quick is a lot better for my relationship with my wife than waking her up at 3 a.m. to do it. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. I took a step or 2 or 10 back from ChatGPT last year because I was treating it like more of a therapist, and it was helpful, but I was afraid I would become too dependent because it instead of just running some ideas, it became, what do I do here? Should I what do you think I should do with this? I'm like looking more for advice than therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a little experiment. I don't think I told anybody this now. So here we go. I did a little experiment.
Is this going to be the beeping yourself situation?
No, it was a female voice. It still is. Okay. Whereas now I actually prefer typing and reading, but I was doing a female voice on the app, just speaking and listening, like an actual dialogue conversation. And I changed the voice from a female to a black male voice. Now it's the same engine, it's the same responses. There's no change in the configuration or settings. It's just the different voiceover, right? You can choose all these different voices. And I just went with that for a couple of days. And my attitude was entirely different. So as the voice was coming back as a black man instead of as a female from before, the female voice might say, well, you've got to do this, or you should think about that, or be careful with that, or whatever it is. And I think, oh, okay, that's a good perspective. That's something I'll think about. And then the male voice, I'd be like, you don't know me, bruh. What? I was so defensive because it's coming from a male voice instead of a female voice.
That's funny.
Which is ridiculous.
It is, but it makes sense. I made mine English because I feel like we tend to listen to English people more. Like their voices, the English accent, I think, puts me at ease. And so, yeah, I do think that I am okay. I feel a little more comfortable taking advice, I think, from a male English voice than I would from like maybe a standard American accent English voice. Maybe. Let me say that again. An American voice versus a British voice. That's what I'm going for.
And
my British accent.
I bet there's got to be some interesting psychology behind why that happens and what's going on behind the scenes. Costco versus Sam's. What do you think? Are it worth it or not for these annual memberships?
I want it so badly, but I feel like I don't have the room or the energy or the bank account to support a Costco membership. I've toyed with a Sam's membership because I feel like Sam's is kind of like Costco, but for people who are on maybe a tighter budget. And that's probably not the case. It's just what I think in my brain, you know? But I feel like I want to do it, but it's you've got to make a day of it, especially where I live. It's 30 minutes in either direction to get to one.
Okay.
So you got to make a day of it. But I just never know what to buy. I get really overwhelmed, and I'm like, do I buy 60,000 bags of chips, or do I buy like 1,800 boxes of pasta? I don't really know which one. Like, what is the better option here? Like, I could buy enough pasta to get us through the apocalypse today, but it's going to cost me $65, and I don't need that much pasta today. And am I just going to eat too much pasta if I buy? And then if it's all spaghetti, then I'm locked into spaghetti all the time. Well, what if I want rigatoni? Now I got to go back to Sam's Club and buy 18,000 boxes of rigatoni. So I feel like even with a big family, I haven't mastered it well enough to like do a membership on my own. Now, what we do is my in-laws have a Costco membership. And so we send one of our kids with our in-laws every time they go to Costco, and they bring home like the things that we know we'll consume. So like 86 bags of chips in a box, like the little kid-sized chips. They'll go get that, or they'll go get a big thing of popcorn that'll last us 6 months. But it'll just be a few things, and it'll be like, I actually don't even know if we pay for it, to be honest. We may pay them back for it. Probably, I would assume. I hope we pay them back. But like that way, we have the benefit of a Costco membership at the level I think we could use it.
Yeah, and being a single person, and I still pay for it every year, and I don't know if I get the value out of my Costco membership. And I can say, well, there's certain things I get there that I can't get anywhere else, like prime grade beef. I can't get that at the grocery store. But I don't know if it ends up being worth it. Here's the thing: if I go to a regular grocery store, the way I am, my personality, there will be impulse purchases. Even if I have a list in hand, I'm going to say, "Ooh, that looks nice." I'm a sucker for it. There's an end cap. There's a sale. There's anything that says limited edition. If it's a limited edition flavor of a cookie or anything, I gotta have it because I might not ever get to try it again. And that's just the way it is. If that happens, when that happens at Costco, instead of $2, $3, $4, it's $20, $30, $40 for an item that is just an impulse buy. So I can't get out the door for less than $150 on a good day.
Yeah, on a good day. I will say this. Here's what I'll say. When we lived in California, we absolutely had a Costco membership. because it was the best place to buy gasoline. So imagine when you're in here, gas is pretty much the same everywhere. But in California, you got a significant discount buying your gasoline at Costco. And so there would be lines at 7 in the morning, like it's the 70s during the embargo, like people during the gas crisis. It looks like that at Costco almost every morning in California. It looks just like that. So I would say that is the caveat. Like Costco gasoline, definitely the way to go if you live in an area where gas is pretty expensive. We don't, fortunately, but if you do, I don't know how you survive without it.
Yeah, and until I moved last year, the closest gas station to where I lived was Costco. So that made sense because it was the closest. It was walking distance. Whereas now I'd have to go, quite out of my way to intentionally go there. This next one might be right up there with Apple versus Android. I don't know. I have an idea because I think I know you well. Extended warranties, Joe. Extended warranties, worth it or not?
Okay. Hi, my name is Steve, and I'm calling about your 2014 Honda Odyssey's extended warranty. So here's what I'll say. I never buy an extended warranty from a dealership, just flat out. I probably shouldn't be saying that in public because I work with a lot of dealerships in my day job, but those warranties are jacked up to high heaven. They do not cover as much as you would want them to cover. They're not like a brand new car warranty, right? No matter what the person on the finance desk tells you, that's just not the case. You have to determine the value that you will get out of an extended warranty. And if you want to put forward the energy to get that value out of an extended warranty. And I mean that for cars. I mean that for anything, right? So if I'm at Walmart and I buy a $10 toaster and it's $1.50 for a 2-year replacement plan, I might pay for that because I'm pretty confident that in 2 years that toaster is going to go bad. But I need to make sure I track that warranty. I need to make sure I hang on to it or whatever. And so there's work that goes into this that you, at best, what you're going to get back is $10, the value of the toaster that you paid for it, right? So you have to be really careful with fine print. You got to make sure that it's worth it. Kids' toys, dude, I will buy that accidental damage plan all day long on a kid's toy.
Do you use them?
I have replaced so many freaking RC cars with Allstate. It's ridiculous. They don't even there are items now that Allstate, like Amazon, will not offer me the replacement coverage because I've probably used it too much. So yeah, I will say those you can get your money's worth out of, though they have adjusted them slightly. Generally speaking, an extended warranty is only as good as the fine print, and you have to know how to use it. If you don't, it's not worth it. So I have an extended warranty on my van that we bought back almost 6 years ago now. And it was, 5 years ago now. But it was not a time-based, it was a mileage-based only extended warranty. And I've used it 3 times, and I've actually had covered almost the entire value of the warranty in repairs done. So I've had
never
3
heard of
different
one
repairs
that
done.
is only mileage. I've only seen the ones that are mileage and time combined. That's interesting.
Yeah, and maybe it is time now I think about it. But I can't remember now. I'll have to look at it. But I actually got I had 3 separate, somewhat minor repairs that I was able to get replaced under that warranty, and it saved me at almost the exact value of the warranty in what they covered. So I paid, I think, about $3,000 for it, and I think I saved about $2,900. So all in all, it kind of came out as a wash. I will say, it's a warranty company that has not been very reputable in the past. But if you know what you're buying, you read the fine print, and you know how the claims process works, and you do it right, then you can take good advantage of a warranty.
And which I feel like I'm at a disadvantage if I can't even remember what I'm subscribed to from month to month. How am I going to follow up with any of these warranty things? What about extended warranties or damage plans with cell phones? Do you do those?
I do Apple Care. I know. I'm sorry. I do Apple Care, but not on every phone. So I do it on my wife's phone and my daughter's phone because do I do it on my phone? Maybe I do it on my phone because it's the people who I've had the phone. It's the damage plan, right?
Yeah.
So you break a screen, it's $25 to replace the screen, right? So that is part of Apple Care. So that's what I do. So I do it on my daughter's phone is medically necessary, so I do it on her phone. My wife's phone is my wife's phone. Of course, I'm going to take care of that. My phone, I usually will take the chance. Now, here's what's something. This is kind of a cool tip that most people don't know. Is a lot of times if you have a credit card like a Capital One Venture card or like a certain American Express, I think the Chase Platinum card, like some of those credit cards, they actually cover damaged cell phones. So you don't even need to buy a plan. You can actually go through you go pay for the repair on that credit card, and then you file the claim with the credit card company, and they'll reimburse the charge.
That's a good point. I bet a lot of folks forget about that if there's benefits on their credit cards that they don't use. I just it's fresh on my mind because I just broke the screen on my cell phone about a month ago. I haven't broken a phone in years and years because I have a good case, but it landed just the worst way.
Just right.
Yeah, not even hard, but it just landed on the metal edge of a table, the leg of a table. This Samsung Galaxy S24 was going to be $280 to repair the screen. My new S26, T-Mobile wants $25 a month for a damage plan just for the one phone.
For the damage plan?
Yeah. So that you get a discounted screen replacement or whatever it is. Pretty crazy. I just recently, so I usually don't do it, but, and I don't know if this is worth it yet. Well, here's it's worth it if it's worth it. If it's worth it if it becomes worth it, really, at the end of the day.
Exactly.
It's like insurance. You're trying to tell the future. Amazon has this relatively new monthly warranty subscription that covers everything that you buy on Amazon. It's not for one item.
Really?
It's like $16.99 a month. And when I signed up for it, and like I said, it's relatively new and I haven't used it at all yet, but you sign up for it, and we are not sponsored. Amazon, call me. From the day you sign up for it, it goes retroactive 12 months on everything you've purchased. And then from that point forward, everything new that you purchase. And so I bought a washer and dryer 6 months ago. I didn't pay for any optional damage plan or whatever. As long as you buy it through Amazon, which I did, it's now covered. So that almost makes more sense to me because I buy so much through Amazon. I don't have to say, $10 toaster, $1.50, yes or no. Forget about it, lose the receipt. If I'm paying this monthly $16.99 and I buy all this stuff from Amazon, it's all covered.
Well, that's kind of like a home warranty. It's like a home warranty for everything you buy on Amazon. They have those. You can buy a home warranty. You pay a certain amount every month, and then your washer breaks and they replace it. Well, all right. So I got to thinking, not to change the subject, but I'm going to change the subject to close this out here. I got to thinking about this idea of what would it be like to have 1996 technology today. And the reason I got to thinking about this is because I've been realizing how much I look at my phone. And I've actually started considering one of those, they're called minimal phones, or like the operating system that you stick on your phone that is basically, it locks out a lot of the stuff, the extra stuff. And it's basically like, hey, email, text message, phone calls. It like brings your phone back to what it used to do back in 2006 or whatever. Today's world, can you roll with 1996? So, for example, do you think you could survive in today's day and age without GPS?
I don't know how I survived without GPS when I first started driving. I talk about this from time to time because I drive Uber part-time. And I'm the one guy, maybe there's others, you guys let us know in the comments. I'm the one guy that will still get lost with GPS. I find a way.
Yeah.
But when I first started learning to drive, I remember, shout out to my buddy Sean. Every weekend, we're coming into Atlanta to go to a party, a club, whatever it is. And I've got a stack of papers printed from MapQuest. That's what, and there I've got Navigator next to me flipping through. And if you get off track one step, you're done. And we could be lost for 2 or 3 hours on a Friday night going through downtown Atlanta. Everything in Atlanta is called Peachtree something. We're at gas stations asking for directions. We might have one of those big map books. Good luck figuring out where you are and what to do. Asking police officers directing traffic, do you know where Whitehall Street is? Oh, I don't know. And it's just hopeless. It is, the generation now that has never known what it's like. I challenge you, go someplace without GPS, just once. Go to the city and just have written directions to someplace you've never been. And you'll get there. You'll get there eventually. But good grief, it is a stressful ordeal.
Yeah, I remember distinctly just driving around and trying to figure out how to get someplace in my own hometown, like trying to get to my friend's house. Like when I first started driving, I was like, I know I've been there before, and I think I remember that Captain D's, and I think I turned right at the Blueberry or whatever it is. You just figured it out. You figured out how to get places, and you got lost a lot.
Here's the flip side of it. The flip side of it is I can for sure become so dependent on the GPS that I don't know where I'm at or what I'm doing. Even if it's someplace I've gone to 10 times, I'm not paying attention. I'm so dependent on the GPS. And so it's the same idea with not knowing anybody's phone number, because you don't have to anymore. But then if you don't have your phone with you, or it's dead and there's some situation and you need a phone number, you don't know it. Same idea with the GPS. And I see, driving in Atlanta, I see ridiculous stuff where people are so glued to the GPS, they're going down the wrong direction on a one-way street, all kind of stuff, because they are so glued to it without realizing what their surroundings are.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know that you could make it through Atlanta safely. I wonder if we've created a problem, like GPS with all its capabilities of rerouting traffic and things like that. I wonder if it has created a problem now where you couldn't live without GPS, because you have to, you don't know what way to go because there's 10,000 different ways to get everywhere, and you don't know which way is going to be the best or the worst way to go. And if you just go the same way that you always went, the likelihood is you're going to sit in traffic a lot more often, right? So the phone numbers. Oh, okay. Do you remember, this is my impression. Do you remember Movie Phone?
Remember yes.
You dial one.
Long time ago.
And you'd be like, "Welcome to Movie Phone. For English, press 1.
You're the guy
Para Espanol, press el dos." Yeah. And it'd be crazy movies too. Like you think about for Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, press 1. Or put in your zip code. You put in your zip code and be like, for AMC 26 Conyers East, press 1. Or Bethlehem AMC 22, press 2. So it's like you spend 4 minutes on the phone just getting to the theater. And now imagine if you wanted to look up a movie and you had to call Movie Phone. I wonder if Movie Phone's number still works. Do you think we should try it sometime and see.
We should try it.
Imagine trying to call, put in your zip code, go through all that nonsense just to figure out what movie I'm going to see. Or by the time you finish it, the movie's probably done started by now. You missed your window. So, but I mean, think about the things that we did in the 90s to get by. That was high tech in 1996, Movie Phone. Imagine I could call a number and know whatever movie is out there.
In general, how we watch TV and movies was so different. One of the main reasons my father bought the Sunday paper every Sunday, he bought it for the coupons, for the funny papers, and for TV Guide. He didn't read any of the actual newspaper article. He got the TV Guide, and the TV Guide he would go through with a Sharpie, and he'd circle what he was watching on what days, and he would be lost without it. If I ever wanted to mess with him, which I did often, I would take his TV Guide and I'd hide it. and he would go berserk trying to figure out stuff where it was before you even had on cable TV, before you had a menu overlay that had
Yep.
and so it was so very different. If you were into a particular show, you waited for the show to come out on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. You would be ready to go. You had commercials. There was no fast forwarding it. And to watch the whole season, you better be ready at Tuesdays at 9 p.m. for the next 10 weeks or whatever it was.
Or you better have somebody to record it for you at home.
Yeah, that's right. And you were fancy if you had a VCR and you had a timer on it, and you had to do that. And, as a high school student, I remember, because there was only so many shows at any one given time, I remember going to high school as a student, and you'd have your select group that was into the particular TV show that you were into as well. And everybody watched episode whatever the night before, and you talked about it the following day.
Yep.
Now,
100%.
I might binge watch an entire season of something that's been out for 5 years, and good luck just finding somebody that's ever even seen it, let alone watch the same episode the night before.
Yeah. Or somebody who, like, it's been so long since they've seen it, it's like a revelation to you, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is an amazing show. And everybody's like, yeah, we know. It's been out for like 20 years. We know it's an amazing show. I just started watching Yellowstone, and I've heard that Yellowstone is like incredible. So I just started watching it. I didn't even have any idea it had Kevin Costner in it. Kevin Costner did a TV show. Did you know that?
No idea.
It's called Yellowstone, 5 seasons. I'm not recommending anybody watch it because I don't recommend shows to people, but just started watching it, and it's like a modern Western kind of theme or whatever. There you go. Like, who knows? Like, I got 5 whole seasons to watch now.
And
not like that back in the day.
This is where it has occurred to me that we are really in the future, and I don't necessarily like it. There have been occasions where I'm in the living room at a friend's house, perhaps friends that we know each other well. We're not necessarily sitting there and talking, and maybe the 3 of us are on 3 separate devices with headphones, watching 3 separate television shows, and we're physically in the same room. But I don't have to watch what you're watching. I'm watching what I want to watch. And then maybe I'm texting a friend in some other city that is interested in the show that I'm watching. I'm physically with you guys, but I don't care about your show. I like shows personally. I like a lot of these British sitcoms. Very few Americans that I know like them. I try to turn them onto it, so I'm going to watch what I want to watch. And if you are too daft to know what's funny and what's not funny, then you can watch whatever.
You just use the word daft. You just use the word daft. That's awesome. No, I feel you, man. All right. Well, we are coming up on time here for the Open Tabs podcast. We've got much more to talk about on the next episode, I think. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Join us again on Monday for the Open Tabs podcast. Thanks, Billy, for doing all the techie stuff and getting us there. And great time today.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Catch you later.